The lesson.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's it's your first time here, so let's get stuck into it straight from the beginning. Now, so you're originally from the Gold Coast, but you moved to Melbourne when you were younger?
No, I'm from Melbourne.
Okay, so you're born and raised in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And is it Melton?
Yeah, Melton, yeah. I lived in Broady, when I was born I lived in Broadmeadows for 12 years and then went to Melton for the rest of it, from 12 on.
So is Broadways and Melton in the same side of town?
No, Broadmeadows is the northwest and Melton's west.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how long were you in Broadmeadows before you went to Melton?
12. I moved to Melton when I was 12.
Okay, cool. And then I guess for someone who's from Adelaide who's not really too familiar with the suburbs and areas in Melbourne, what was it like, in Melton, in Broadmeadows? Is that like an affluent area? Is it a rough area? Is it middle class?
Yeah, they're rough areas. Like, Broady's got a name and Melton's got a name.
Okay.
It's like sort of ghetto-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah, word. And then, obviously through listening through to the music and going through the catalogue, the element of the street life carries all the way through the music.
Yeah.
At what age, do you recall sort of starting to dabble in
12.
the street shit? And okay, and then so what is it that happened, or how did that sort of first start to come about?
I joined the gang.
What made you want to join a gang?
Just because be a part of something, you got family sort of thing.
Yeah, when you're 12 joining a gang, I mean, can you recall, first of all, I guess, can you talk about who the gang was? And
yeah, it's BIH.
Okay, and like with a crew like that, is there like a jump in thing, like you see?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Okay, and you got jumped in?
Yeah, some of us have, some of us haven't. Some people just get their hands shaken. Other people get jumped in. I haven't heard of anyone getting jumped in years, but back then we were right into it, we were.
So for, someone who doesn't necessarily know what getting jumped into a gang is, can you explain what that experience was like for you personally?
For me personally, I was 12 and I got shit kicked out of me. I fucking screamed for my mum, apparently. I can't remember it, but apparently I fucking screamed for my mum. So,
yeah, wow. And so how many dudes are jumping you in?
3.
And so being 12, I'm going to assume these dudes are much bigger, much older. You were
yeah,
obviously...
I can't even remember it, to be honest. I can't even remember it happening, but my mate told me the other day he remembers it. He was telling me about it, how I screamed for my mum.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And then obviously once that's out the way, you're in and off you go.
Yeah.
Now, so you're at 12 years old, you've joined this gang, you've been jumped in. In terms of the street stuff, what were you sort of dabbling with at that particular age?
At that age, we were just running around, just get into a group, running around the street, just mischief, just little kid shit.
Yeah, petty thieving and a few fights and shit like that.
Yeah, just like fights, just looking for dramas and that.
Now, at which point or which age did things start to become a little bit more serious, and what is it that happened that made things, become a bit more serious?
When I was 17, my mum got real sick. She had emphysema for years, but then all of a sudden just smacked her out, when I was 17. And then I just started smoking ice and doing all sorts of shit.
And you feel that was because... So your mother passed away at 17?
No, she passed when I was 21, but she got really sick at 17. Like, at 17, I knew she was going to die soon, So then I just started... Yeah.
Wow. And when you talk about, getting on the ice, I mean, these days that stuff is even more common than what it would have been back then. Your experience from being on that shit, I mean, what was your experience like being on that substance, and how difficult has it been to get off that shit?
Like, taking the drugs not the issue, it's the lifestyle, you know? Well, for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so explain what you mean by that.
I've got no issue with like wanting to take it or craving it or anything like that. It's just the lifestyle. Like, I like the money, I like everything that comes with it, you know, with moving it, all that shit. So then that just took over my brain because I was 17, you know. I thought, you know, it just makes a better song. Every pack I sells, you know, another song to write. So
when you were 17 and you're dabbling in that, you weren't just using it, you started selling it at that age as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so so that sort of just came in hand.
Yeah, I always sold like buds and pills and shit when I was a teen, and then when I got to 17, I got onto the ice, and then started moving that.
Yeah, okay. Well, so how old were you, do you think, when you first started selling like pills and weed and shit like that?
14.
And you were doing that pretty consistently up until about 17 when you started dabbling in the ice?
Yeah, like when I was 16, I think I had a job for like 6 months, and then went back to dealing, yeah.
At doing that at like 15, 16, you know, being obviously very young, running around in that game, did you experience, you know, people trying to take shit from you, obviously because you're smaller or younger and shit like that?
Not trying to take shit from me, but there's been dramas, you know, when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, Melton's like it's a big town, but it's all tight knit, you know what I mean? Like, everyone, if you're in the scene, everyone knows everyone. So if you come get me, but I'm doing something for him, you haven't got to worry about me, you got to worry about him, you know what I mean? And it was sort of, that's the way it worked. Like, my mates would be the ones doing that to people, in a way, so it never really happened to me.
So at 14, 15, you started, you know, moving weed, moving some pills. At 17, then you started, you know, I guess dabbling in the ice. Now, completely different substances. How much different is, you know, the environment and the game when you go from selling pills and weed to start selling ice? I imagine it's much higher risk, more at stake, etc.
Yeah, it's more like, if you're dealing with coke and pills and weed, it's just like stoners and people that party on the weekend, you know? But with ice, it's every single day. It's what they need every day, you know? So it's good for the money, but like, people that take ice will steal your wallet and help you look for it, you know?
Yeah, wow.
The people are just cooked, you know? Like, there's always a problem with people with ice, you know?
What's some of the worst things that you've seen from people being on the ice?
People die. Seen cunts get stabbed and die. I've seen one cunt get shot. But I've seen a few cunts get stabbed, but one cunt died. People get their missus stabbed because they owe money, cars taken, bashed, tied up. Their missus is bashed because they won't tell them where something is. You know, I've seen people's parents get bashed because their son won't tell them where the money is, you know? It's all sorts of fucked up.
The lesson. 927. Oh, yeah.